Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to Sean's Horror Corner. As always, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you tuning in today. Sorry if my mouth is a little swollen. I had some dental work done this week, so I'm still recovering from that. But I think I'm going to manage and get through this. So today, just me solo today. I've had a lot of guests lately. I've got a lot of guests coming up, but today it's just me. So you'll have to bear with me and just listen to me today. But today we're going to be talking about Primate. It came out earlier this year. And this is a film that I wanted to see in theaters. I was kind of excited about checking it out, and then there was just a lot going on, and I didn't get to at the beginning of the year when this came out. But I recently watched it on Amazon Prime. I think is where I watched this one. And yeah, this is going to be fun to talk about. I do like these. I don't know, creature. I don't really know that you would call it a creature feature. I'm not, exactly sure what you would put this into. Animal attack film, that kind of thing. But yeah, let's jump right in and get into Primate. So tagline for the film: Something's wrong with Ben. Brief synopsis for this one: college student Lucy and her friends spend their vacation at her family's home in Hawaii, which includes her pet chimpanzee Ben. However, when Ben contracts rabies after being bitten by a rabid animal, the group must fight for their lives in order to avoid the now violent chimp. Film released January 29th of 2026, directed by, I'm so bad with names. I hate this part every time. Johannes Roberts, distributed by Paramount Pictures, runtime of 89 minutes, a budget of between 21 and 24 million dollars, box office of 41.6, so did all right. Cast for the film: Johnny Sequoia, Jessica Alexander, Troy Kotzer, Victoria Wyant, and Gia Hunter. We'll stop there. Let's talk cast and characters. Um, I think everybody does fine. There's no bad acting in this movie. Everybody does a good job. I don't think anyone stands out as far as being like absolutely amazing, but they do fine. It's well done. Again, yeah, I think everyone's fine there. As far as the characters, this is one of those movies, and if you've listened to me for very long, you've heard me talk about this multiple times. I really, a lot of times in horror movies, we're there to see the villain, right? We're there to see the kills, uh, just to see exactly what happens, with that kind of thing. You don't always have to have a great group of characters for the villain to be after, but it helps if you do. Again, so many times we cheer for the villains in these things. I mean, that's what we're there for, to see these kills. And maybe cheer for the villains is the wrong word, but they're the reason we're there, right? So, um, yeah, it helps though when you at least like one or two of the characters. That way you kind of have someone else to root for and get behind and want to see survive. The onslaught that's going on. Um, when you don't have that, the film can still be good. Because there's a lot out there where I don't like the characters, and so I just enjoy watching them all get killed. This one's kind of in the middle. I didn't find myself really disliking anybody tremendously in this film. There's some that are more likable than others, but like I said, nobody's horrible. Um, but at the same time, I didn't just completely get behind any of these characters either. Now, this could be because I'm, becoming an old man day by day. You see the gray. I'm 54. Been very honest about this. I'm an old man, and this is a movie about college students. So that could be why I have a harder time relating, and mostly female college students. So that could be 100% why I have a hard time really getting fully behind any of this cast. But I don't think it's completely it, because there's other movies, where I do. I am cheering tremendously for characters that don't fit into my, age bracket and that kind of thing. But all of that to say, these characters are fine. Yeah, I just rambled for a minute there, but when I don't have a guest on to bounce off of, you just get to hear me ramble. So that's what's happening today. Um, all of that to say, yeah, they're fine. The cast does a good job. Characters are fine. I don't think anything is tremendous here, but everything's fine. As far as things like cinematography, let's start there. I think we get some great shots. I really like the setting for this film. This house that's kind of like on a cliff here in Hawaii. Beautiful home. I would love to live in something like that or visit something like that. But I think we get some nice shots, cliffside shots, ocean shots, some things like that that look really good. I think the effects for this movie are pretty good. The chimpanzee, Ben. I don't have a lot for my like behind the scenes type notes for this one. I read a few things here and there, but a lot of it was more about like Hawaii. Um, but I think the special effects, they're good. The chimpanzee, there's times, from my understanding and what I read, where it's CGI. There's times when there's puppetry involved. There's times when there's actually someone in a suit. Um, I think the effects look pretty good. I think all of the work is done pretty well on this one. Again, I don't think there's anything mind blowing here, but it's all good. I think the kills are pretty good. The graphics are good. The story's fun. And I want to get into something more about that here in just a minute. Score, sufficient. I don't think anything really jumps out at me. There was never a time in this movie where I felt like the score was just nailing it, but I also don't think it was bad either. There are a couple of things about the story here that I don't like, but overall, I think it's fine. Uh, let's start, for example, with this. We'll get into it when we get more through the plot, but this like iPad type thing that the chimpanzee uses to it's a very smart monkey, right? Okay, so uh, he uses this device to type, and then the words come out. So they've taught this again. This is very intelligent chimpanzee, and he has this way of communicating where he can type these words out. There's times in the film where this is used, I think, to almost like a scare intimidation thing, where he types out something and lets them know that somebody's been bad, that kind of thing. Didn't I wasn't a huge fan of that. I felt like we could have done without that in this story, and it'll make more sense once I get into the plot if you haven't seen this film. Um, the other thing that I wanted to mention before we actually get into this and start breaking it down is that sometimes with these animal movies, because I like animals, I'm an animal lover, especially dogs. And this movie, like I said, I don't have a lot of behind the scenes type stuff. The director did mention that their primary inspiration for this film came from Cujo, being a huge Stephen King fan and a huge Cujo fan. That's where a lot of the inspiration for this film came from, and I can see that. I definitely think it's got that to a degree. So I definitely see that being there. Um, but one of the things I was going to mention when it comes to these kind of movies, and it's a hit and miss. I don't know whether it's good or bad, because you have like this chimpanzee, like I was talking about, and if you get a lot of time with the animal before things go bad, to where you really like this animal, you think it's so cute, oh, I love this animal, I love this chimpanzee, I love Ben, that kind of thing, and then he becomes rabid and starts attacking, and something's going to probably eventually happen to him. Um, it kind of sucks, right? Because you really like the animal, you think it's so cute, and now it's all evil and mean, and it makes it tough because you're like, I don't know. I mean, yeah, obviously something needs to be done now, but this thing was so cute. This is so sad that this is happening to him. If you don't get that time with the animal, it takes away the effect a little bit of how the movie affects you. But then at the same time, maybe it doesn't make it sad. I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say here. I know what's going through my head, but it's not coming out in words. But I hope you get what I'm trying to say. Um, if you get a lot of time with the animal pre it going bad, then you come to care about the animal, you like it, and you hate to see what happens to it. If you don't get that time, it takes away that factor where you're not sad when something happens to the animal. But at the same time, it also pulls you a little bit emotionally out of the movie as well. So I don't know whether it's good or bad. In this movie, I don't personally feel like we get enough good time with Ben. We get a little bit in the beginning, but this movie jumps right in and gets things going pretty quickly. And so I don't think we get enough time with Ben to completely care about what happens. Um, you still hate it, but I don't think we get enough time to completely care. It's kind of a positive, but at the same time, I also feel like it takes you out of the movie a little bit emotionally at the same time. Hope that makes sense. I'm very curious. Leave me some comments to let me know what your thoughts are. If I'm not making any sense, then just tell me, Sean, you don't make any fucking sense, and we'll move on. But I hope what I'm trying to say is coming out there and being clear. Um, all right, let's get into the plot, and we'll start walking through this one, and we'll talk about Ben. Um, Opening up, we get these words on the screen that are talking to us about hydrophobia, which I'll be completely honest. Hydrophobia, obviously, I'm a little bit intelligent. I immediately know that means fear of water. I did not know, however, though, it as it talks about hydrophobia, it tells you that animals who are infected um, are easily driven crazy by the sight of water and must be treated within 48 hours. This disease, hydrophobia, has now become known as rabies. Did not know that. I did not know that rabies used to be called hydrophobia. I had no idea that rabies caused animals to have a huge fear of water. I don't know a lot about rabies, but I just did not know this was really a thing. So interesting there. And then we meet Doug. He's a veterinarian. We see that he's in this area where it's kind of an interesting looking area. It's almost like a cage, but it's very large. Uh, he's in there with this chimp. He's obviously trying to treat this chimp for something, but the chimp ends up attacking him and ripping his face off. I like this opening scene. I was like, damn, okay, we're going to jump right in with this movie because I really hadn't. I'd heard one other, that my friends over at That Horror Couple, Robbie and Kaylee, I had heard them talk about this movie and know they really enjoyed it. But other than that, I had not heard a lot of people discuss this film, so I didn't really, there weren't a lot of spoilers and things like that out there, and to know exactly what was coming. And it had been a while since I had listened to their episode. Yes, I'm one of those people that, um, well, I typically don't want a movie spoiled for me. If one of my friends or a channel I follow or something puts out something, even if I haven't seen the movie, I have a tendency to go ahead and watch their episode, and then I'm like, oh, okay. But nothing had really been spoiled for me in this film, I don't feel like. So I didn't know what the pacing and the tone of this film exactly was going to be like. I had seen trailers and had a general idea, but wasn't 100% sure of what was going to be taking place. So, for it to jump right in the way it did and for things to get started, I think this looks pretty good, where the chimpanzee attacks Doug and ripped his face off. Um, yeah, it looks pretty good. It's not great. There was a moment where I'm like, okay. But again, overall, it's fine. This may be a word I use a lot in this. It looks good. It's fine. And a good opening scene. I like the fact that we're jumping right in and really getting started here with a bang. We're not going to have a lot of long build-up, which can be a plus or a minus. But yeah, good opening. I appreciate it. Let me get a drink of coffee. It's also early in the morning, and I'm still trying to get going. We then cut to 36 hours prior to this event happening, and we meet Lucy, a college student who is returning home to Hawaii. We also meet some of her friends. There's Kate, there's Hannah. They end up meeting these guys on the plane, Drew and Brad, who they kind of flirt with a little bit, and will come back in to play later in the movie. They land in Hawaii. We meet Nick, who is Kate's brother. He ends up driving them all to Lucy's home there. We meet Lucy's father. His name is Adam. He's an author. He's also deaf. He communicates through sign language. We meet Lucy's sister, Erin. We also meet their pet chimpanzee, Ben, who is this highly intelligent chimpanzee who uses this tablet soundboard to communicate, like I mentioned earlier. And we find out that Lucy's mom had passed away, some time ago. The character introductions here, like I said, we get just a little bit with everybody. We get to know everyone a little bit. Not a lot of really, I don't feel like deep dive to any of these characters, which again can be a plus and a minus, depending on how they're going to be used in the film. Would I have appreciated to getting to know something more about them? Maybe. Sometimes, like I said, that you want that, you need more character development. I don't know for this particular film and this type of film, you really did, but at the same time, it might would have helped me like some of them a little bit more. Again, not that I disliked anyone, I just didn't feel that close to any of these characters either. So, it's okay. These character intros does seem, everyone seems fun for the most part. I think Hannah is the one that might be a little bit annoying here, if I remember correctly. But yeah, it's fine. We get to meet Ben. Yeah, cute monkey or chimpanzee. Sorry, I don't know exactly. I say monkey, it's a chimpanzee. To me, they're kind of the same thing. I know there's differences, but I'm not an expert. So, but yeah, Ben's cute. Very intelligent, fine. I kind of wish in a way that we would have got a little more time getting to know or getting to see Ben prior to what's going to end up happening. We just don't in this film. I think we could have used a little more of that here. Honestly, I think it would have helped me be a little more invested in this movie one way or the other. We get this soundboard thing that I was talking about, and initially I thought it was kind of cool that this is what they did. I just think it was, I don't know, it was a little bit too much later. It just really didn't have any effect on me. I don't think it was necessary to do what they were trying to do. Again, I think it was supposed to be creepy, and I just don't think it lands as creepy later in the film, but we'll get into that a little bit more. Um, Again, beautiful home. I do love the setting. I really like this home. It looks so cool. It really makes me wish I had something like that. So, if I have any wealthy listeners or friends out there who have this beautiful mansion that sits like on a cliffside over the ocean in Hawaii, let me know. I'm coming to visit. All right, we'll move on. That night, Ben begins acting strange here a little bit, and Adam finds a dead mongoose in Ben's enclosure and discovers that Ben was bitten. Um, Adam's getting ready to leave town for a book signing, so he ends up calling their veterinarian Doug, wanting him to come check on Ben. And he also ends up taking, taking this mongoose to be, checked out, to looked at as well. Um, yeah, the friends, they're all now around this house. They're having this pool party, enjoying themselves. Um, Lucy ends up calling the guys Doug and Brad that they met on the plane. I said Doug and Brad, Drew and Brad, excuse me. Doug is the vet. Lucy calls them and invites them over. While they're out doing their thing, Doug, the veterinarian, arrives and Ben kills him. So that's the kill we got at the beginning of the film. Again, fine. We're getting some interaction with the characters. I guess here's where we're kind of getting to know these characters a little bit more. It's fine. Again, nobody really stands out to me here as being incredibly likable. Don't really dislike them either, but just again, fine. I told you I was going to use that word a lot when I talked about this movie. I felt like um, we now know again at the beginning of the film where that plays in as we get this. And like I said, Ben gets bitten relatively quickly, so we don't, even though we don't see it, we don't really get much time. Like I've already mentioned a couple of times, with Ben to even develop that close of a, oh, I love this, I love this chimpanzee so much. We don't get much of that because we get right in, and there's a plus and a minus to that. Like I was saying, in my opinion, it hurts this film just a little bit. Um, Later that night, Kate ends up waking up in the middle of the night, and she discovers that Ben is loose. He's not in his enclosure. He's acting very strange. Um, Almost seems like he's going to attack her there at one point. She informs Lucy. Ben seems to disappear for a few moments. They can't find him. They hear some screaming out by the pool. Ben is acting very aggressive towards Nick and Hannah. Lucy kind of calms him down a little bit, and while they're trying to figure out what's going on with him, Nick tries to end up tying him up, but Ben escapes and then does attack and bite Aaron. The group all jumps in the pool because Ben is afraid of water, which, that's why they gave us all that at the beginning of the movie about hydrophobia. Um, so we get some scenes there where they're in the pool. Ben is kind of just watching them and kind of stalking them around the pool, trying to get to them a time or two. Ben ends up going over to this one area of the pool because, like I said, this is like on a cliffside, and he's there by an opening where Nick thinks that maybe he can get towards Ben and push him off the cliff. They decide very quickly to kill this monkey. And again, I get it. I mean, they don't. I don't think they know at this point. I don't remember if they know he's got rabies. They just know something's wrong. He's obviously attacking, so something has to be done. But it just decisions get made so quickly in this movie, and it's kind of funny to me. But so Ben tries to get towards him and push him, but Ben kind of tricks Nick and basically ends up throwing him off the edge. So Nick is dead. Lucy at one point is able to kind of get to this pool float to help them all out there a little bit because, of course, like I said, Erin's been bit. She's hurt. We get another scene there where Ben is kind of hanging from these lights that go over the pool and tries to attack them. And then we get him like tormenting them with this tablet. I think he says something about Lucy bad, that kind of thing on this tablet overall. Here's where I just didn't think this landed. I thought this was kind of silly having this tablet thing involved. I don't think it adds a creepiness to the film, and I think that's what it was trying to do. To me, it doesn't. It's fine, but I just at the same time, I'm like, we didn't need this. But again, fun scenes with the group in the pool and trying to avoid Ben. He, swiping at them once in a while. There's a little bit of tension when Lucy gets out of the pool and is trying to get this float, and Ben is watching her. There's, like I said, some tension there. So again, nothing terrible here. Nothing that I thought stood out and was extraordinary. It was fun, but fine. I told you that's going to be the word for this movie. We cut to Adam at this book signing. He gets a phone call that is telling him, or like a text message type call, like I said, because Adam is deaf, letting him know that this mongoose that he brought in ended up having rabies. He starts to get a little bit concerned. Lucy and Kate, back at the house, they are trying to get to a phone in the living room to make a phone call, but Ben ends up attacking. We get kind of a fun scene there where Ben is chasing them. He ends up catching Kate and crushing her head with a rock, and so now it's very obvious that Ben has gone over the edge. At one point there, the girls use a rope and try to pull Ben into the water, but that doesn't work. He's able to more mess with them than they are to accomplish anything. The two guys that they had met on the plane and called, Drew and Brad, arrive. We get a good scene. I like the scene between Ben and Drew here, where Drew's like going around the house. They're trying to find the girls, right? And so Drew's like walking around the house, and he gets up in one of the bedrooms, and he's looking around, and then Ben shows up, and you can kind of tell he's scared of Ben and doesn't know what to do. Initially, he tries to play with Ben a little bit. He sees that doesn't work, and then Ben ends up killing him. I thought this was a fun scene. I like this. There is some tension here. I did enjoy this scene. I kind of wondered why Drew didn't just try to run away, but at the same time, this chimpanzee's pretty strong, so he probably wouldn't have got far. But he just kind of seems to, his fear overcomes him, and he just kind of lays there and can't get away. He does try to yell at Ben a little bit, but that just makes things worse. Ben like ends up ripping Drew's jaw off, so we know Ben likes to rip things off because he's already ripped off the veterinarian's face, and now he's ripping off Drew's jaw. Brad ends up finding the girls outside, but then Ben attacks him and ends up beating him to death with a shovel. So again, a couple of good kills, some fun scenes here. I was on board enjoying this part of the film. Some good action going on here, I guess. Hannah is able to get away. She gets to a phone and is also able to get some car keys. She takes off to a car, gets inside. She uses the phone to call 911. But then she realizes she's in the wrong car, and we kind of get a scene there where she's trying to start it. She's got the wrong set of keys, and then outside Ben has the right set of keys, and so he's tormenting her a little bit as well. Very intelligent chimpanzee. Kind of a fun scene. I don't know. I guess we're just seeing how intelligent this chimpanzee is here, but because it almost gives you like a slasher vibe, like this is something a slasher villain would do, but instead it's being done by this chimp. Part of me appreciated it and enjoyed it. Part of me was like, this is a little weird, but okay. Finally, Ben gets done playing around. He gets in the car while she's still on the phone with 911, and he ends up attacking Hannah and beating her to death. Adam ends up arriving, and so he doesn't hear all the screaming and stuff going on, but he's looking around trying to figure out what happens. Lucy and Aaron have gotten out of the pool by now as well, trying to figure out something, and Ben ends up attacking Lucy. At one point, Aaron kind of saves her, but then Ben attacks her. And so we kind of get this battle going back and forth between the girls and Ben before Adam shows up and is able to save them. Kind of seems like for a minute everything's going to be okay, but then Ben attacks Adam. Adam like stabs Ben with a broken bottle to, seem to get the upper hand, and maybe they've killed Ben. Adam and his girls embrace, but then Ben comes back and attacks again. During all of this attack, Lucy and Ben end up falling off a balcony. Adam is able to catch Lucy and grab her, but Ben falls to his death, being impaled on some furniture that's broken down there below. Police and paramedics arrive, and then we get one more scene where, again, here's where I thought it was silly, where I believe the police have picked up this tablet that we were talking about, and they've pressed something that Ben has done. So we hear Lucy bat again, which scares Lucy one more time. It's okay. Really didn't think that was necessary either. And that's Primate. I went through that kind of quickly, but that's pretty much it. All of that being said, this is not a bad movie. It was fun. It was not as good as I hoped. I was really hoping for more, I feel like, from this film. I mentioned that the runtime was 89 minutes, so it's right at almost an hour and a half long. In some ways, this is a good runtime. I mean, it's fine, and I feel like it's paced well. It goes by pretty quickly, so it doesn't drag, which is a plus. I almost, though, feel like this one would have needed more. Maybe add another, I don't know. I don't want to make the movie too long where it does seem to drag, but if we could have added even maybe 15 minutes to this movie, give us another 5 to 10 minutes before everything goes wrong, where we get some time with Ben to where we, kind of fall in love with this chimp, where it impacts us more when things go wrong. Or I don't know. I feel like the scenes where Ben is attacking him, we get some good tension and some things like that there. I don't know. I just something was missing. It was good. It wasn't great. Something was missing. It wasn't quite what I was hoping. It was fine. It just wasn't quite what I was hoping. And so, all of that being said, to rate this one, normally I have my rating written down before I do this part, but I was really struggling to decide exactly what I wanted to rate this film. And I still am. I thought maybe after I talked about it and explained it a little bit, I would come up with a better idea. Again, this is not a bad movie, so it's definitely it's better than a lot of things that I've seen, and I did enjoy the watch. It just wasn't exactly what I was hoping for. I wanted a little bit more out of it. Um, it's not it's not bad. I wouldn't give it any like a 4 and below, nothing like that. 5, I typically think is kind of average. This is pretty close to that, maybe a touch better than a 5. Yeah, I don't know. It's fine. This movie's fine. It's not great, but it's not bad. I'm trying to decide on that 5 to 6 range. It's right in there somewhere. I'll give it a 6. I'm feeling generous this morning. So for me, Primate, 6 out of 10. I feel like this is one that I might enjoy more upon some rewatches now that because again, I just expected more from this film. I wanted it to be better than what it was. Now that I know what it is, to go back and do a rewatch, I might like it more and be able to bump it up a little bit more. But for now, I'm going to say 6 out of 10 for Primate. I don't own this one. Like I said, I just watched it on Prime. It's one that I would buy. And, if there's a really recently gotten into steelbooks, if they produce like a 4K steelbook of this one, or even just a 4K of this, I'll probably pick it up and watch it again. And we'll see. Maybe this is something that down the road I will come to appreciate more now that I know what to expect from this one. But 6 out of 10 for me on Primate. If you've seen this movie, let me know what you think. Leave me some comments. Do you really like this one? Was it missing something to you too? What are your thoughts? Did you care about the chimp? Did you get enough time with these characters or Ben to develop something there, or was it a little rushed for you two? Just share with me your thoughts on Primate. I'm very curious as to what you think. A lot of fun stuff coming up still. Tomorrow night I will be live. So August 4th, live, 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. My friends over at Horror 365, Swift and Jimmy, will be on with me, as well as Cece from Cece's Horror. We're going to be doing a live stream talking about Leprechaun, the first Leprechaun movie from 1993. Really looking forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun. Also have episodes coming up this week. Robbie and Kaylee from That Horror Couple are going to be on. We're going to be talking about Friday the 13th 7. Ken from Sledgehammer Horror, possibly Ashley as well, will be back on. We'll be talking about Seed of Chucky. So a lot of fun stuff coming this week. Be sure and subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the like button for me today. Leave me some comments. Follow me on social media. I'm pretty much on everything out there. Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, X, TikTok, Letterboxd. Just search Sean's Horror Corner and you'll be able to find me and give me a follow there. So again, thank you so much for watching today. Comment, like, share, subscribe, follow. You do all those things and I will see you soon.